All right, thank you for listening to another episode of Remake Rewind. I'm Mike, as always. With me, I got my buddy Alex. How you doing, man?
Surprise! Today it's not Alex.
Oh no,
Yes, it is.
imposter. Well,
Gotcha.
something that's a little different though. Normally, we are a podcast where we decide if remakes or reboots should have happened. We talk about a movie, its remake or reboot, and just kind of compare them. But we're doing something a little bit different. I wouldn't even call this like a reboot or a requel, but we're gonna, just for the hell of it, we're gonna be talking about Willow and the first two episodes of the Disney Plus series, Willow.
Is it a reboot? I feel like it's a little bit of a reboot.
I mean, like, he's in every episode.
And it's like, it's a sequel. It's definitely a sequel.
It's definitely a sequel, but I wouldn't necessarily call it a requel either, though.
But I feel like it's a reboot of. It's not a requel. I don't think it's a requel because it's a direct sequel.
Right.
But in the sense that the previous movie came out in
1988.
88, and now they're having a sequel however many years later. Feels a little rebooty. It's like a reboot of the franchise.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what technically a requel is supposed to be. Like, we never ended up getting around to covering Scream, and I'm hoping we still do. But, you know, a requel does, the whole point of a requel is that it's a reboot and a sequel. It has the legacy characters, but you're supposed to start phasing out.
Oh, did they just call it a legacy sequel? Maybe that's the best one.
Yeah, so this is more of a legacy sequel, but we just kind of wanted to watch it and talk about it, so we are.
Yeah.
So not a normal Remake Rewind episode, but, you know, still nerdy.
Yeah.
Still pop culture-y.
Yeah.
And that's what we is.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, but like what are your connections to the Willow movie? Like, I'm sure you've seen it before.
I haven't actually.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you're a few years younger than me, so I think that maybe you saw it as a kid because it had you either had people around you that kind of grew up with it, or it was like there's a resurgence or something. Maybe I was 3 when this came out, so I think I was just too young and then not interested when I was old enough.
Yeah, this movie, this was not one that was on TV all the time, but I'd say, you know, I would catch it on TV with my dad like every 3 to 5 years, and every time it was on, it was something we watched. But I distinctly remember this being like the first movie where I was blown away by special effects. Like,
oh wow.
Because I remember seeing it when I was like under 5, and seeing the scene where like the 2-headed like dragon thing that the trolls turn into, and seeing that and just being like, holy shit! But you know, the kid version of that. But I just remember that was crazy, and then the witch, like the older witch, turning into all the different animals throughout the course of the movie.
You mean the
and
Quilf?
Then like, yeah, and then they at the end when all the army turns into like pigs and then like back, those transformations blew my mind as like a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So this is a movie that was like, I honestly think this might be the first movie that like from a special effects standpoint just melted my mind. So
wow.
It's also when Disney Plus came out, you know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whenever it was. I think 2018 or
I guess they've had 3 seasons of The Mandalorian, so
not yet. It comes out in March.
But it's at least 2 years. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was 2018. It was definitely when I was at my previous job, and one of the I think the first thing I watched, I flipped on, you know, Disney Plus on my Apple TV and saw Willow, and I'm pretty sure Willow was the first thing I watched with
cool.
Apple TV. So I was actually really excited to
so
go back and watch this.
Yeah, there's so many like sentimental attachments for you and 0 for me.
Yeah. And it's like one of those movies that like I said, wasn't on all the time. So it's not like it's one of those movies that like I know every scene beat for beat. Like it's something I watched infrequently enough that every time I watch it, like I'm getting something out of it. Like I don't remember it as enough. So it's almost like watching it again for the first time every time. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Different experiences, different strokes for different folks.
Yeah. I was trying to think of like a funny rhyme. I got nothing.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something else, and that's the only one I got, man.
This is the podcast where we're not funny.
No, sometimes we is, sometimes we isn't.
Well, cool. This is a nice nostalgic view for you and a totally new one for me, so that's interesting.
Well, since you hadn't seen it before, and I'm sure, you know, being the film scholar you are, you probably took copious notes, and you're probably the best person to summarize this movie?
I'm not, as a matter of fact. I forgot that we do summaries, and I did not prepare one.
All right, I'll do it real quick.
No, I'll do an off the cuff one. This will be good.
There you go.
If you think about Joseph Campbell's The Hero Journey and how it's used in Star Wars, and you also like Lord of the Rings, and you also like Dungeons and Dragons, and you just kind of put them all together, then you get Willow.
Yeah.
How's that?
That's pretty good. I saw this comment online earlier today, actually. Somebody was just like, I just watched Willow for the first time to prepare for the series, and I just think it was... They described it as, like, lackluster. They didn't, like, feel anything watching it, and it was just a ripoff of all the things you said, but they also threw in, like, Army of Darkness and, like...
Wait, that's awesome.
Yeah, and another, like, fantasy thing from, like, the late 90s. It was I want to say like Hercules or Zorro, but not that. It was like the Kevin Sorbo movie that he did, like Kroll or whatever it was.
He was not in Kroll. Kroll rules.
No, there was another 90s one. I don't know if it was Kroll or something. Now I got to look up.
I'm just saying Kevin Sorbo wasn't in Kroll. Sorbo sucks. Like, Kroll rules.
No, I'm not talking about the 80s one. There was one in the 90s.
There's a 90s Kroll?
I think so.
Oh, no shit.
I think so.
Cut all this out. On the Always Sunny podcast, they go, cut that.
And they never do.
I bet, we don't know if they do, right?
That's true, we don't.
But they don't always, because there are definitely cut that's in the podcast.
Kevin Sorbo does like 9,000 movies because he's so cheap because nobody wants to see him. Fuck,
He's the worst.
I hate that I'm giving him like the search optimization shit. Oh, it's Kull, Kull was what it was.
Oh. And that's a sequel to Kroll?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I thought it might be. I just remember it had a similar name.
So you're full of shit.
But like, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't remember. It's like this little idiot's Facebook comment. But I was like, I had to comment. I'm like, Army of Darkness and Kull came out after this movie, and from a special effects standpoint, like this movie was like revolutionary. Like, there's an entire episode about this movie in the Industrial Light and Magic documentary on Disney Plus as well, and how this was the first on-screen full transformation from animal to human and human to animal. It's the first time it's actually been shown entirely without like cutting.
Pigs.
Exactly.
So many goddamn pigs in this movie.
So many goddamn pigs.
Well, go ahead. I have a comment about the hero's journey thing.
No, I was going to say that I was just saying that you're not the first person to kind of make a summary like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm being a little glib, but I actually don't hold anything against the movie for that. Like, I think it's very charming. I had a good time watching it, and I don't hold anything against any movie, especially from the 80s or 90s, for adhering to the hero's journey, just because Star Wars did it. Like, movies did it before then, and movies will continue to do it after then.
Yeah.
Movies have continued to do it after then, specifically like Tron Legacy and Harry Potter.
Yeah,
like
absolutely,
it's all the same shit.
There's only 7 types of stories to be told. It's 7 or 12, I don't remember, but
right.
Everything is just a rehash of something else that's been done.
Yeah, I mean the hero's journey formula specifically is like very recognizable.
Yeah, exactly.
But I lost my train of thought. I think it's very charming and sincere and original, despite how unoriginal some of it feels.
Well, and it's in a favor of its originality. Like 1988, this was like peak Arnold, Stallone, that kind of action hero, and here you have, why am I blanking on his name? Warwick Davis and Val Kilmer before he really blew up. Like, he'd had a few big movies. He had like Real Genius already. He'd already done Top Gun, but he hadn't really been the action hero yet.
Yeah.
And he had his few of those movies in the 90s. But like, when you look at what an action movie was prior to this movie, like having somebody with the form of dwarfism as your leading man is pretty bananas.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just gonna say. Like, there are so many little people, I think is the preferred nomenclature, in this film, and they're great, and it's just like something that you don't see. I feel like we haven't seen a whole lot of that, or something that bold since then.
No.
So it was pretty cool to see that.
Yeah, I think it's fun, and it's like, and they're the little people in this movie. It's like, it's not like a gimmick. Like, they're just little people. They have their little town and everything. Like,
Yeah.
they're seen as like another race of people that just exist in the world. So yeah, it's kind of a refreshing thing, and it's like you said, you don't really see that.
Yeah, and the amount of slurs hurled against these people in the movie really makes you, it really puts you on their side.
Yeah,
Like,
called pecs.
yeah, I mean, people are. I guess racism is the right thing to call it, right?
Yeah,
people are such pieces of shit to him,
and yet he just stays positive. He keeps on trekking.
Yeah, stealing babies from mothers hits a lot harder in 2022.
Yeah,
this movie opens up with babies being stolen from mothers across the land. And I think
ripped off the Bible, ripped off Moses, but it's girls instead of boys.
Not a news story, but still terrifying, and especially in our current political climate.
Well, I guess we should like do a real summary. So, long story short, there's an evil queen who heard a prophecy that this little baby girl will, with a special mark, will eventually grow up to be a very powerful sorceress who will get rid of the evil queen. So the evil queen finds all the pregnant women and basically dispatches any babies that are born. But luckily for little baby Alora, she is found. The midwife like smuggles her out with the laundry and takes her on this like journey where these like rodents of unusual size like try to eat them. But eventually, the midwife has to like dump the baby in the river because she gets eaten. And Willow's family finds her, and Willow is a aspiring sorcerer. He wants to become the town sorcerer and just have an adventure, and so he is forced to take the baby back to her own kind, and mishaps and adventure ensue, and he teams up with Mad Mardigan and even the evil queen's daughter.
Wow. That is an eloquent synopsis of the film Willow.
All right, we're done. Thank you guys for listening. No.
Yeah, thanks so much for tuning in.
So this being your first time watching the movie, I'll let you go first. What are some highlights for you? What stood out to you?
Like I said, the sincerity and the charm narity. What's the word? Charmingness. Sure. I guess it's just charm, right?
Yeah.
The sincerity and charm was really, really nice. I definitely feel like if I saw this when I was a child, it would have been something that stuck with me. I understand why it's a beloved movie for so many people. The special effects you mentioned, I think, are pretty impressive. And also, it's just like a gorgeous movie. They shot it in Wales, I think.
In New Zealand.
I think some of it was in New Zealand, but most of it was in Wales.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the new one. I think I'm right.
Maybe it's New South Wales.
Regardless, it's gorgeous. Like
it is. It really is a pretty
very
movie.
Beautiful movie. This is when they shot movies on film too, man. So
and
cool to capture all that. Yeah, exactly. On film, on location. It's nice. It still works.
Yeah, I agree. It's you can always tell like when people film things on location, whether it's like that's why people really like the 007 movies. Like there's just something about seeing these exotic places, and Christopher Nolan films as well. He always shoots on location.
And I think Fast and Furious to a certain extent too. Like they're aping James Bond movies, but they want to be globe-trotting action adventure movies, and people watch those movies partially because they go to all these exotic, interesting locations.
Absolutely.
Oh, I think I should say up front that I'm like not a huge fantasy person, like sword and sandal and magic and stuff. Like I like fantasy that involves sci-fi somehow. I like post-apocalyptic. I like Star Wars-esque kind of fantasy, but the like doing magic and stuff in the forest is like not really my forte.
Which is funny because you and I have been talking about playing D&D together for years.
Yeah, D&D is a little bit different because you're directly involved in it. There's like improv and hanging out with friends and stuff. Like it's different. But so if we were going to play, if we were talking about playing a role-playing game that is D&D, but it's in the Fallout, type of universe, I'd be even more into it. We might have actually done it by now. Yeah.
Well, it's funny if we actually did play. We started once a couple years back, and then it didn't end up happening. But like the campaign I would have done, you would have ended up in some weird shit.
Well, yeah, don't tell me.
So we'll have to get into it eventually.
We're gonna do it. I still have my guy.
Yeah. I guess highlights for me. It's really just the charm and the chemistry between all the actors in it. Like you said, like Val Kilmer and
Val Kilmer is one of my standouts too. By the way,
he's so good
and so goddamn attractive.
Joanne Whaley, they got married.
Yeah.
after meeting on this film.
Mhm.
And they were married. They had 2 kids, and, you know, fortunately divorced 7 years later. But, you know, they had 2 kids. But yeah, like Val Kilmer is so good in this movie, and he's effortlessly charming. And like I have this like renewed respect. I think I've talked about it before, but when you I watched that documentary on Amazon that he did, you know, a couple years back, and I remember after like hearing that he was like this asshole, and like I'm not saying that he's not some sort of asshole. Like he sounds like he is kind of an egotistical guy to a certain extent, but he also seems very, very much in love with the craft of movie making. And I remember like after we did The Island of Dr. Moreau, and I watched that little documentary, and everyone's like, Marlon Brando hated him, the director hated him, and David Lewis hated him, and all these people didn't like him. But then when you actually see his little like diaries, his video documentary, and then you see that he's just like, he was right. Like that movie was not good. The Island of Dr. Moreau, like he just really cares about filmmaking and whatnot. So like I have this like new love and respect for Val Kilmer. Anytime I see him in something now, I'm just like, I know he put everything in to the movie, because that's like what he expected from everybody else. So
yeah, and I think you and I get into conversations a lot about you know, method actors and people that are difficult to work with on set or whatever, and it's probably worth wondering if what their intentions are as far as the film. Because if it's someone like Daniel Day-Lewis or Val Kilmer, they're just trying to make the best film possible, and if they're, you know, maybe they're a little abrasive or whatever, but if they're not putting used condoms in people's trailers or whatever, then who cares? Let them make a good movie. They're artists.
Not breaking priceless collectible artifacts. Sure.
Which one are you referring to there? Kurt Russell?
That's Joaquin Phoenix.
Okay, I was going to say I got beef there.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell didn't know what he was doing. That was the
he didn't know. Yeah, that one, he felt terrible about that one. But like Joaquin Phoenix destroyed like $100,000 sink in The Master. And then he also destroyed like a very expensive like vanity in Walk the Line.
Yeah.
And there was like another movie that he like broke some, but he's constantly breaking shit. But whatever, we've had that conversation.
Yeah, as long as people on set don't feel like they're in danger,
right?
They probably do. It's just breaking shit.
Yep. For sure.
Why are the tiny guys, the
brownies?
Why are they French?
I don't know. Well, that's the thing that like
Mr. Willow, where do we go now?
Well, that's one of the things that's interesting, and they carry it forward to the new series on Disney Plus. But there's like no.
Did you watch the 3rd episode?
No, not yet. I was gonna watch it tonight. But they have.
Sorry, I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah, they have this like uncommon accents. Like, there's not a similar accent. Like Val Kilmer has his like American accent. You know, Warwick Davis has his accent, and then Joanne Whaley has her accent, and then like you said, the French accent, and then you have like Eric, who like I don't even know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And everything. Everybody has a different accent. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And the new series has the same thing. They've got British actors, they have other European actors, then they have Flash Thompson from Spider-Man, the newer Spider-Man movies. It's interesting how they do that. But for whatever reason, and I think it's right what you brought up, the having actual sets, having actually be on location, having real costumes, like even with all these weird accents that are clashing with each other, I was still like fully engrossed in the film.
Yeah, you're talking about the film. So you're talking about the series also.
Well, no, I was just saying, but they carried that forward in the series of having a bunch of mixed accents. But in the movie, this movie, I'm still totally engrossed in it, even though it makes no sense having Americans and everything just Americaning about.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's fantasy. Like, oh, anything goes. It's jazz.
They fucking ride a shield down a mountain and invent sledding. It's pretty dope.
Did you notice that everybody in the beginning of the movie was pushing the babies downstream?
Yeah.
It happened like 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that's a better option than anything else.
Well, even Willow at one point was like, I've got to plant our seeds. We're so poor, we couldn't even buy seeds. We had to send our little tiny children out where there's fucking monsters in the jungles or in the forest to go and find seeds that we can plant for free, so we can maybe yield some crops so we don't lose our land. We don't have time to deal with this infant child that's as big as we are. Send it back down the river. Like, he literally tells his wife to put the baby back in the river, and the wife's like, go fuck yourself.
It's like
I'm
that
raising
scene.
This baby.
It's like that scene in Kung Pao at the beginning of the
Bye,
movie.
baby.
Oh, so cute. bye-bye. And just rolls her back down the hill.
Yeah.
One of my notes was, why was sending the baby down the river the solution to the pigs and wigs?
Let's see. I'm just reading through my notes really quick. I didn't really take too many notes just because, like, the plot is a very simple. It's just get from location A to location Z kind of thing, and they run into various obstacles in between, and they end up rallying the human army to go take on the queen. I
kind of felt like it should have been 2 movies.
I don't know. I don't know where you would have cut this off, because it's not that long of a movie.
It's not. I felt like the midpoint of the movie could have been the end of a first movie. I took a gambit that you'd agree with me before I had evidence to back up my opinion, and you did not agree with me. So.
I did not agree with you. You're a fool and a troll.
I still stand by my opinion. Mad Mardigan is basically Han Solo.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just with a little bit more of a Mad Mardigan.
Yeah,
Han Solo. Yeah,
he's a rogue mercenary that doesn't believe in the cause, and by means of circumstance ends up helping out our heroes, and then ends up coming over to their side and believing in it.
But he jumps on like really early, like. Initially he loses the baby right away, but as soon as they like run back into each other at the tavern when he's like cross-dressing to get away from the husband whose wife he clearly fucks because he's 1988 Val Kilmer.
Yeah, I'd fucking Jesus.
He immediately is just like he like is on he's like riding the buggy or the cart, and he's like getting away, and he's like doing all that, and like he looks at the baby like once, and he's like, all right. That's a cute baby. And then he's just like on board. He's on board the rest of the movie. Like he's like so on board that he even gets like the other army when they're like, nah, the queen's pretty fucking powerful. We're just going to go home and just like wait for her to take over everything. He's like, no. We got to get that baby. Let's go get that baby.
Is that how he says it?
Yeah. Elaine, when are you going to come see the baby?
You got to see the baby.
Baby.
I really liked him learning everyone's names right off the bat.
Yeah.
That was really sweet.
Yeah. Mad Mardigan's such a weird name. That sounds like a first name and a last name.
It's just a first name.
But it's just a first name.
It sounds like a nickname.
Yeah.
Mads Mardigan, if he was on that show Hannibal.
Yep.
What else do we got here?
I've got nothing. It's just a fun movie.
Yeah. At some point I said it's like Ant-Man. Von Aker looks like The Rock. Von Carr, whoever the guy is.
Oh, the general dude?
Yeah. He looked like The Rock a little bit.
Yeah.
One of the brownies had tiny Goku hair.
Yeah.
What's it's the like the good witch is Raziel or something?
Yeah, something like that. I honestly
she was inside of a cage and tried to become human.
Yeah.
Like she was a rabbit, she was
ferret
50
little thing.
Yeah, she was 50
ferret.
Fucking things. But when they're locked up, she's like, "Change me, Willow."
Change me.
And he asked him to change her while she was still in the cage. Like, why wouldn't she crawl out?
Right. That scene was funny because like Mad Mardigan, he's like, What are you gonna turn into? What are you gonna look like? She's like, I'm a young and beautiful woman. Concentrate, Willow, concentrate.
I liked Mad Mardigan inside the snowball with his feet and arms sticking out.
His arms sticking out. Like, I actually really liked how Saoirse fell for him because she's like confused why he was like attracted to her. And then, like, she's just like,
I don't love her. She kicked me in the face.
Her and her mom's army, like, show up, and these guys just, like, are locked themselves knowingly in this castle that has 2 trolls. And they set up all these, like, booby traps. And, like, Mad Mardigan is just fucking killing everybody. He's dual-wielding crossbows, and he, like, dumps them, picks up 2 more. Boom. And then, like, has all these, like, traps. And she's just watching, and she's like, yeah, I'm probably gonna fuck him. And then she's just in love. And flip side, like that Val Kilmer D made her want to kill her own mom.
Yeah, I get it. Speaking of the mom, I think my biggest complaint with the movie, like from an actual complaint from a filmmaking perspective, I feel like seeing the queen be like seeing her be evil early on would have been better. I know that she rounds up all the pregnant women, like that's awful and stuff, but we sort of see the effects of it. We don't see her directly being evil.
Yeah.
So like when we get to the third act and she's got like Emperor Palpatine powers, it makes sense, but I had to be like, oh yeah, she's like got powers. I didn't even think about that.
It's not really until like Sorsha's like, she's like the queen's turning all the people into pigs, and Sorsha's like, but mom,
So many
it's
pigs.
me. And then she like turns her own daughter into a pig. You're like, oh damn, that's cold.
Yeah.
She's a cold ass honky.
I just think a shot earlier on. Ron Howard, are you listening? A nice shot earlier on of the queen doing something.
Yeah, Ron, what are you doing?
She could like turn one of her guards who's insolent into a rat or something.
Yeah.
And step on him.
Yeah. Or like when at the beginning of the movie when the baby goes missing, like immediately just been like poof, like just off somebody right then and there.
Yeah.
Perfect opportunity.
Well, I think that we've said all that can be said.
It's a fun movie. Go watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you doing with your life if you haven't seen it yet?
Yeah. Alex.
Well, I've seen it.
Well, now you have.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, what have you been up to, bud?
Well, sir. Jesus Christ. When was the last time we talked?
Like a month
Oh, the
ago.
Erasers. I rewatched Neighbors, which is an excellent movie. Seth Rogen should come be on the podcast. I like that movie, man. It's fun. I like the second one even more.
I like the second one even less. I don't know why I watched it.
So you're an anti-feminist is what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying. I just did not like either movie. I don't know why I watched the second one when I didn't like the first one.
Yeah, that's crazy. I also watched Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Me too.
Really enjoyed that.
Me too.
Had a good time with it. I have a shirt in my Etsy with written directed by James Gunn on it.
Nice.
You can buy it if you want. Iron Man 3 we revisited. That was fun.
Good.
Wakanda Forever round 2.
Yep.
Willow, obviously. We've been watching Pepsi Where's My Jet.
Me too.
Which one are you on? We just finished it.
We've got one more to watch.
Okay. Yeah, it's really good, man. We should talk afterwards. I really enjoyed it though. I thought it was great. Still watching Buffy. We started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. We're on season 5 now.
Nice.
Yeah, just blasting through it. That show's great. I think I'm forgetting a TV show. Oh, we've been watching Andor.
I want to watch Andor so bad, but Katrina,
I want to talk to you about it.
Katrina loves Diego Luna. She's like, that's the one Star Wars thing I'll actually watch. We watched like the first 2, but she
so you have seen a couple?
Just the first 2.
Okay.
And she like wasn't paying attention. So when I went to go watch, like, I'm like, hey, can we watch? She's like, I don't remember. We'll have to start it over. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, I really want to watch this. Like, I really, really, really want to watch it. I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to fucking watch it on my own and then rewatch it with her.
Yeah.
Like, so she's out of town. So when she gets back, we're going to finish White Lotus.
Yeah.
And then
in like an hour, baby.
Yeah.
For me, not you.
Yeah. So we'll finish White Lotus. And then we're like, listen here. We're going to watch Andor or you're going to be leaving. You're going to go out the door.
I'm going to text you spoilers about White Lotus.
No, don't do it.
You're caught up, right?
No, we didn't watch last week's episode either.
I'm not even going to joke about it then.
Yeah.
Last night we saw The Menu as well.
I've seen that twice.
It is so
good.
Like, fuck, man. That might be one of my favorite movies of the year.
Mine too.
And what's crazy too is that most of it takes place in one room, right? Like,
yeah,
it's it's essentially a single location horror film. But it all takes place in one room. There's only a handful of actors. There's not really any like big action scenes or anything like that. I mean, there's not, but there's
a couple.
There's like little set pieces that happen in one room. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without spoiling anything. But all that being said, you've got to see it on a big screen. Like, I'm so glad that I saw it in a theater because it wouldn't be the same seeing it at home.
I mentioned that to Katrina. It's like, I mean, that movie has been on the trailers for literally like every movie I've seen in the last like 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen that trailer like a million times. And the first couple times we saw it, like, I always joke when there's a really shitty looking movie trailer, I'll be like, that looks really good. And like the first time we saw the trailer, I said that, but like I was being like earnest, but Katrina thought I was being sarcastic. And she's like, yeah, it doesn't look very good. I'm like, no, I'm kidding. That looks fantastic. I can't wait for that. And like the first couple of times we saw the trailer, she's like, I don't know about that. But then eventually she's like, actually, it does look really, really good. Yeah. And we, I don't remember, the other couple weeks ago, we were going to go watch that or a different movie. And I'm like, no, we need to watch this. And she's like, why? I'm like, because if we don't watch this in theaters, by the time it comes out to streaming, we're going to forget about it, and we won't watch it. I can't tell you how many movies that I was dying to see and didn't get around to it for whatever reason, and I never watched on streaming.
Well, you mentioned trailers, and I think a big thing to talk about around this movie is how maybe, and I don't want to say how good the trailer is. I think it was pretty good, but I understand that, Katrina wasn't blown away by it. But what it did do really well is it didn't show you the whole fucking movie.
No,
Like,
it
it just
didn't.
set it up, gave you an idea of the tone, and that was it. It made you
It just
want
gave you some nice
it made,
character pieces.
yeah, and it made you want to go see it. It left you wanting.
Give it a
And
couple of days and go see it again, man.
oh, I probably will. But just to finish that thought, we saw a trailer for that movie, Missing, the
Oh
the
yeah,
found
with all the
footage cam one.
God, that looks
I mean, I think the idea is interesting. It looks like they're doing something. I don't expect a lot from it, but it looks kind of cool. Like, I would see it. But the trailer,
looks
like
like it gives
halfway
away
through, it
everything.
showed everything, and I was like, well, hold on, I don't want to know everything. Now I
I
have
feel
no
like
interest in going to see
yeah,
the movie. I know what's going to happen.
yep, yep. I feel you.
Yeah, so that's it.
Anything else before I?
That's it.
All right, so we rewatched Thor: Love and Thunder. Katrina really wanted to rewatch that.
How
So
was that?
we had a good time. I actually really like that movie.
Hmm.
I think it's a fun movie. I don't see why.
It's
how
really like the flashpoint of Marvel criticism recently.
like I don't understand how people could love Ragnarok so much and not like this one.
Because
Like
I think it's not as good as Ragnarok, and they've seen that the trick
It's-
already.
I don't think it's quite as good, but I think it's like 90 to 95% there. And there's like certain I really loved the beginning and I really loved the end of the movie. Like and some of the set pieces were great. And we loved fucking Russell Crowe as Zeus
And Christian Bale.
and Christian Bale's
I-
performance.
It's got a
was
lot of
fantastic.
things yeah. So I mean, sorry, we don't have to
Yeah.
get into this too much, but there's a lot of things I really like about it. But I think it is too similar with Ragnarok without being better or more interesting.
That's fair. And for me, like Ragnarok, like a lot of people think Ragnarok is their favorite Marvel movie. It's nowhere near the top for me. I'd put it in like upper mid, lower top, but I wouldn't even put it probably in my top 10.
Should we
Marvel
do
films.
our tier chart of Marvel movies soon?
We'd have to do it again. We've done it before.
No, but with me, like the S.
Yeah, we did an episode. We did it in like a Patreon thing.
I don't remember it.
Yeah,
I guess
we
we're
ranked-
gonna have to do it again.
Yeah, we ranked all of them.
All right.
Or maybe it was just Fast and the Furious. I don't remember.
It's Fast and the Furious.
Yeah,
I want to do like a tier chart, like a visual one, and then we could put it on Instagram.
yeah, we should do that sometime. We rewatched Into the Spider-Verse.
Tight.
Of course, we watched Wednesday.
Tight. We started it.
We watched the Guardian Christmas special as well. I watched the latest season of Big Mouth. I don't know why I watch it. It's just like I normally watch it while I'm like cooking or cleaning. Like I don't really need to pay attention to it. Pepsi, Where's My Jet? Got one more. Disenchanted, and I think I mentioned it that we watched like an episode the last time we recorded. But Boy Meets World, we've been watching it, and it's really fucking good. Like we're now into like the second half of the second to last season, and like I definitely think the last two seasons are nowhere near as good as the first few, but the first 5 seasons are just really good, and I think people should watch it.
Yeah.
And we watched the new Disenchanted movie.
How'd you like Wednesday?
I liked it. I didn't love it. Like I don't think it's the most amazing thing in the world, but I found it to be pretty entertaining throughout. I liked Jenna Ortega as Wednesday. I think she did a great job.
Yeah, we've just watched the first episode, and I enjoyed it, and I'll finish it, but I was a little underwhelmed based on what everyone was saying.
I was very disappointed. Initially, when I found out that Luis Guzman and Catherine Zeta-Jones only being in 2 episodes, I was a little confused, but I was
I didn't
actually
know that.
glad. Yeah, they're only in 2 episodes, so they're not very good. And like honestly, Luis Guzman, like he is a more accurate, like he's technically a more accurate Gomez than like Raul Julia, as fantastic as he was, to like the original comic. But God, he and Catherine Zeta-Jones had like no chemistry. So as soon as I found out they were only in 2 episodes, I was really happy because I was really disappointed with them. But
I felt like it was a lot of like Gen X humor.
yeah,
Or
it
Gen,
gets
Gen Z. Not X.
once they get to the school and it's just the student stuff. Like so, episode 2 on, it is much better.
Okay, cool.
Like even I cannot stand Fred Armisen. Like I fucking hate him.
I know.
And he didn't even bother me as Fester. Like
Yeah.
it was like he's only in 1 episode, so I was like, moved right past it.
Anybody's better than Johnny Depp.
Yeah, everyone thought it was gonna be him because they didn't reveal it until like 2 weeks before it dropped. So
It was like a big nothing burger. It's like, oh, it's Fred Armisen. All right.
okay, whatever. 1 episode, fine.
All right.
All right. Willow series.
Willow Part 2. I'll do this one.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Oh my god. I think I'll do this one. I just had it in front of me and now it's disappeared. I'm gonna do it. Hold on. Where the fuck did my little thing go?
Alex has got a small dick.
Oh, it's in my pants. That's where it is. Oh, you know what? Sorry. Cut all this out.
I'm not cutting out the part about your small dick.
No, that's fine. Leave that. Just imagine somebody listening to it like, Alex has a small dick. So anyway, on Willow. All right, here we go. Willow, the legendary sorcerer, returns in a new series set many years after the events of the original film. Willow leads a group of misfit heroes on a dangerous rescue mission through a world beyond their wildest imaginations.
Sure.
I guess that's what's happening.
I mean, I'm sure that's eventually what will happen.
Yeah. Remember that guy Willow? He goes on another adventure with a bunch of Gen Z kids. They all have American accents, and
except for the ones that don't.
And they just talk about stuff.
It's got Erin Kelly, who's now like got a hat trick of Disney properties now, because she was in Solo, she was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, and now this. So she's got her.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Her hat trick with Disney now.
Yeah, I had that in my notes. Good for her, especially for being a little freckled ginger kid. It's pretty amazing to be like a star of 3 pretty major franchises. Yeah, well, Disney's all about diversity. They want to bring those freckled kids in.
Yeah, ginger freckled kids.
I thought the prologue to this show, let's set it up with a little bit more of a detailed synopsis, right? Or at least like introduction. So the show opens up with the now queen, who was the previous princess, who was trying to kill Mad Mardigan. Sorsha, who fell in love with Mad Mardigan. She's now the queen and has been for many years. And there's peace in whatever the name of this land is. Middle Earth, and she's sort of narrating this introduction, and she's on kind of a heavy lies the crown thing. Mad Mardigan's nowhere to be found, and but she sees trouble on the horizon. That's good enough, right? She's kind of shitty to Mad Mardigan in the beginning.
Yeah, well, I mean,
she's like, this rogue, this piece of shit, this absolute motherfucker with a tiny dick. He's been gone for all these years.
Scruffy-looking nerf herder.
Like I was a little insulted for Val, because Val can't be in the show.
Well, and he was going to be. There was just a scheduling conflict. They were going to find a way to make it work with a combination of AI and his son's voice.
It felt a little bit like she was kicking this guy while he's down, and I don't think that's the intention. It seems after the second episode, it seems like they're going to do a little redemption for Mad Mardigan, even though they manufactured him needing a redemption. But it threw me off and put a bad taste in my mouth right away.
Interesting. I just looked at it as like he went off to go do something and she feels slighted because he went because to me it sounds like there's going to be a mystery. Part of the mystery of the series is going to be like what happened to Mad Mardigan. And I think it's going to be he left for like heroic intentions. And if this gets a series 2, then I think we will hopefully find a way to get Val Kilmer in, and whether it's the combination of AI and his son, I'm hoping that if there is a season 2, we get him.
Yeah, I mean, we've only watched 2 episodes of the show, so I could be totally wrong. That's just my raw impression.
Yeah, and then so like the state of the world essentially is Mad Mardigan is missing. Willow and Sorsha also kind of had a rift that separated them because they couldn't agree on how to handle Allura. Sorsha thinks that they should just hide Allura so no, she's not a target for anybody, and just kind of like squash magic and kind of make magic not legal. And then Willow's like, no, I need to train her so that way she can like defeat the evil. Like, we use magic to create this magic barrier so evil can't come, but that's not going to hold forever. So we need to train her to fulfill her destiny. So he's like, she says no. So he's like, well, fuck you. I'm going to go protect my own people. Fuck the humans. They can die. And he goes off on his own. And now it's like 20 years later. Kit, the daughter's going to get married. She doesn't like it because she's got they're hinting that she's got a relationship with her friend. And Allura's secretly a servant girl nicknamed Dove. And that's kind of where the state of the world is before this episode starts.
Yeah, so at the end of that episode, they reveal that Dove is Allura, right?
No, not until episode 2, dog.
Yeah, but I knew in episode 1.
Yeah.
I knew very early on.
Yeah.
Like,
one of them is going to be. Yeah, like I actually like the first episode really like that. This is where I have a little bit of an issue with like the way Marvel and Disney as a whole and Star Wars. There's certain things that like can be movies and they're milking things. Like most of the Marvel shows, when you think about it, if you were being honest, could have been a 2-hour movie. Obi-Wan could have been a 2-hour movie. So Falcon and Winter Soldier could have been a 2-hour movie, but they're stretching it and milking it to make it 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah.
When you look at the entire movie of Willow being 2 hours and 1 minute with the credits in it, and it did a really great job of world building. It got us on board right away. This episode, these are like 42 minutes, and then they have like 8-minute credits. So these are like 35 to 40-minute episodes so far. And it spent like the entire first episode just like telling us what has happened in the last 20 years from Saoirse's point of view, and then kind of telling us about this young crew. And it's like the original movie would have been able to get like all of this going in a half an hour and already had them like halfway through their first adventure.
Yeah, and like these kids are not interesting enough.
None
to
of them are
spend
likable.
40 minutes like setting
Not
all
yet.
this up.
No. So
And you mentioned Marvel. Like I don't I know there's a big argument with like DC fanboys. I think it's mostly Zack Snyder fanboys. But a thing that people like to say is that Marvel has made superhero movies jokey and everyone wants to do quips and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's, kind of bullshit, but it's something I really felt with this show. Like everything felt like forced in quippy things that people like. It's not how I expect those characters to talk. And it's not how they talked in the first movie.
No. And we're kind of taking a holistic approach to this. Like we're not going reviewing episode 1 and then reviewing episode 2, but like when you get into episode 2, just to kind of like continue with this awkward pacing, that episode, it's about, once again, 35 to 40 minutes of actual content with another 8 to 10 minutes of credits. We get all the same backstory that we got in episode 1 from Saoirse. We're getting the exact same story, but from Willow's point of view with flashbacks with like really good de-aging effects. But still, it's like, why did we need to hear the same story with, honestly, like no details changed? But like just the pacing is really off. Like the second episode almost entirely recapping the first episode was a little strange.
Yeah, I think that's one of many things in this series that feel anachronistic. It's very jokey, like more jokey than I think it needs to be. Like their hair looks fantastic. How do they get in these haircuts in this medieval fantasy land that doesn't even have magic anymore?
Right. Well, and like one of the other things I thought was odd is like, you mentioned in the first movie, take a little take a sprinkle of Star Wars, take a sprinkle of Lord of the Rings, the books, obviously not the movies at that point. Right. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. This movie, and that made sense. It was a Lucasfilms movie. This was still technically Lucasfilms and Disney, but I feel like this whole legacy sequel thing that we've been getting over the last 10 years, 15 years really is from like Star Wars, Force Awakens, really like blowing up. That's the most, still to this day, is the most successful domestic film of all time here in the United States. But there was, a lot of knocks on how similar it was to the original Star Wars.
The Force Awakens is the most successful domestic film?
Yeah, it's the biggest yeah, it's the biggest financial movie in the United States.
All right.
But I feel like this movie or the series is doing exactly what Force Awakens did, but like doing like more Star Wars stuff. It's like, all right, here's a young generation, and they need to talk to the old generation. And Dove/Allura is Rey, and Warwick Davis as Willow is both like Luke and Han Solo and everything. And then like they're even like the way the plot progresses is the same. They even talk about like magic and shooting lightning bolts out of her fingers and everything. Like I feel like this is trying to be fantasy Star Wars and not trying to be its own thing.
Yeah.
What's up? I honestly don't have much to say. Like at the end of the first episode, the Gales showed up and they're like, they kind of look like Cenobites from they all kind of like, one's called Scourge, one's called the Lich, Doom, and Strag or Sag or something like that. So yeah, they're very like Cenobite looking Knights of Ren kind of style guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I wish that they took the opportunity of doing a new series to make it a little bit more weird and unique instead of continuing the tradition of making it feel like some other things. It's just kind of like, oh, you like Star Wars? Here's this other thing that's sort of similar. It's also like just kind of Game of Thrones for kids or like people that aren't into incest and rape. Yeah, it doesn't feel totally unoriginal, but it also doesn't feel that unique. Well, to finish off, it's just not as charming as the movie.
no, I agree. And like, I might give it another episode or two.
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm not really sold on this so far.
Yeah.
So, which is
I
a
wouldn't.
bummer.
I wouldn't have watched it if we weren't doing the podcast. I was thinking I might finish it. I might watch a couple more episodes, but I'll probably give it another episode.
It was an odd decision to drop 2 episodes the first week, which Disney always does that on Disney Plus. But to drop 2 virtually identical episodes was just kind of odd. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. I'll probably watch another 2 or 3 before I decide. But so far, I'm not impressed.
Tonight I'll be watching White Lotus, not Willow.
Yep, I feel you, dog.
All right, let's wrap up. Mike, go ahead and give us your plugs.
No, you give us your plugs.
Okay, since you asked so nicely. I'm on the Instagrams at Dysalexic, DYS Alex IC. I'm technically on Twitter, but I haven't been using it. So
why?
Feel free to use me. Feel free to add me there if you use it at Polishi. I'm on TikTok at Polishi, and I have a little Etsy store where I sell funny film and TV related T-shirts and sweatshirts and merchandise. That's called Burn the Scene Boutique on Etsy. And if you use the code Remake Rewind, you get a sweet little discount.
And for what it's worth, the quality of that stuff is really good. I've got a few of his T-shirts, and they're quite comfy. They make me feel safe and warm.
Oh, man. Thanks so much. Oh, I'm also on Letterboxd at Polishi.
Yeah, you is. And you guys could check out everything that's MDXpods related at MDXpods.com, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're also on YouTube, so you could check us out there. If you guys want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/MDXpods and get early access and bonus stuffs. But that's it. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Nice short episode.